Right, so this is the last couple things that we have to do before we go ahead and do our trial balance, okay? So we reached the end of the first week of Coffee Cafe, right? So let's go ahead and enter in our last transaction here, which is going to be that we received a bill from Furniture Store that we received our desk set. Okay. So in this case, right, we received our desk set. So what do we do with this? What do we do? How do we journalize this? Right, we purchased a fixed asset, right? So we check our chart of accounts. We bought a desk set. Is there anything in here that's remotely a desk set?
Yes.
Yes, 1330. Now our assumption here is we received a bill, right? Does that mean we have to pay now?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. In this case, how many days does they give us before the bill is completely due?
15?
They give us 15, right? Net 15. So in this case, I'm going to take advantage of that 15 days and I'm going to say I'm going to owe them until 15 days later, I will pay them. So in this case, right, what account will we be using to represent that we're going to owe them?
Accounts payable?
Accounts payable. Okay. So you see the desk set is going to be 13,030. Okay, and then accounts payable is the 20,000. So desk set 1330, and we have accounts payable for 20,000. How much is my total cost of my desk set? Yes, right? In this case, we have to put the full price because this is what it cost me to get the asset to the store. And because it's a desk set, right? It's already ready to go. So in this case, right, $658.37 because I must include shipping and I must include the freight that costs me to get it to the store. 658.37. Okay. So again, I have everything I need to be able to build my description here, right? All right, who did I receive this from? Furniture Store. Okay. Invoice number 71. Okay. And I have 15 days to pay. Right? before we move on, we have to clear out our purchase orders because in this case, right, we actually sent out a PO to order our desk set. So here, desk set for $562. There it is. Invoice number 71. We received it. Okay. So now we are done with my journal. So now I need to go ahead and update my ledger. Okay. So in this case, ledger, I have a desk set that I purchased. So assets, and I'm going to locate my desk underneath my furniture. So here's display shelves. There you go. Desk set. It is the 7th, right? It was for $562 plus 8.25%, which was a total tax of $46.37 plus $50 freight. We are journal number 2, and I acquired the asset for $658.37 on
On the
the.
Acct, what number line are you on? 'Cause I can't find it. Oh, never mind. I just found it.
Okay. Okay. So we debited our desk set for the $658.37. Since we used our accounts payable and created a liability, we need to put this in my accounts payable for the 7. Okay. Invoice number 71, general journal number 2. And this time we credited for $658.37, which is going to increase my amount to $3,428.67. So we finished the journal. We finished updating all of our ledger accounts. Now the next thing I have to do is I dealt with a vendor. In fact, I owe a vendor. So in this case, I need to definitely 100% update my subsidiary ledger because that is what I'm keeping track of, the people that I owe versus the people that owe me, and also what I owe my employees. So in this case, here we go. We got to go look up furniture store. Here we go, furniture store. Right? What did we purchase? We purchased desk set. Okay. We, on general journal number 2. I'm sorry. 61 is the invoice number on general journal number 2. We have net 15 again. So therefore, what day is my due date? Good. June 22nd. And this time, I owe $658.37, and I did not make any prepayments, did not return anything, did not get a discount, nor did I pay. So therefore, if I ran that formula, right, the exact formula where I started with my invoice amount, subtract my prepaid, subtract my return, subtract my discount, subtract my payments, this tells me that I owe $658 for this invoice right here. Now down below, in gray, gives me a sum of all the bills that I owe. So in this case, combined, this is how much I owe my vendor, right? This is just equal sum, okay? I owe Furniture Store $2,428.67. So in this gray here, as you can see, says total. So that means total amount that I owe in a total amount of invoices combined. All right. Now each line is going to represent one invoice. Okay. The columns, right, will give you grand totals at the bottom. Okay. So this tells me I owe a total of $2,428.67 across two different invoices. Okay. Right? So there you go. We dealt with all three. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what is next. Okay. So, next right here, it says that we started the water, okay, and the Las Vegas City services. So, trash services, recycling services, all of those things like sweep floor cleaning, street cleaning, all of those are going to be considered Las Vegas City services, okay? And of course, we started it through NV Utilities. So in this case, right, is this a transaction I need to journalize? No, right? That's what I did. I called them up and they started up the water line, and they also started, picking up our trash and cleaning our streets and so on and so forth. They started the services to clean up the city. So in this case, right, I do not need to pay until a specific certain month, right? Sometimes water and electric bills are every other month. And in this case, right, we don't know. We just have to wait till we receive our first bill to know how much it's due, when is it due, and so on and so forth. So in this case, we don't even have an exact amount how much water bill is going to be. And usually the water bill is based on how much water you use, right? So in this case, they need to measure the month worth of utilities before they can send you a letter, okay? And then now, the last thing it says here is to create a trial balance. So this is where you need to take your financial forms if you have Excel. If not, for Word, it's your trial balance for week 1, okay? Now, in this case, when we start our trial balance, right, all you will be needing is just your general ledger accounts, okay? Reason being because it's a trial balance, right? We are testing to see if our total credits and our total debits match by looking at all of our account balances, okay? So where do we find our account balances? Through the general ledger. That's why it's so crucial when we do our journal, the next thing we're going to do is do our ledger. And right after the ledger is your trial balance, okay? You see how it's connecting. You cannot do the trial balance if you haven't updated your general ledger. And you can't update your general ledger if you haven't had the journal transaction in the first place. So in this case, you see how the cycle must go in an order. Well, in order for one thing to happen, you need to have a previous thing happen first, okay? So what I like to normally do is I like to go to my journal and say, okay, so that if this is the case and we're going to be completing our first trial balance, I like to block off or do a little cutoff point just so I know where my transactions end. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to make this a nice black bar, and I'm going to have this in white font. Okay, and and I'm going to indicate this is my trial balance week 1. Okay, so what this is going to tell me is from here on out, when I complete my trial balance, if everything balances, then I can stop here. And when I do my next trial balance, I'm only focusing on the 8th all the way to the 14th. Okay? Reason why a lot of companies do this is because look at all the transaction we've already incurred, right? We've already done 1.5 pages full of journal entries. What if week 3, it's about 6, 7, or even 10 pages worth of transactions? You definitely don't want to wait too long and wait till the very end of the month, because if you end up not doing your trial balance frequently, right, you're going to be spending hours and hours looking for that discrepancy, and even if it's a penny off, all right? There's many times that this has happened, right? We waited to the very end of the month to finally do our trial balance to find out that we had a penny missing. And trust me, when you go through this entire thing, just to realize you have a penny missing, it's maddening, okay? Because you have to literally go through every single transaction all over again. So this is, again, going to be a preventative measure to ensure the accuracy of your accounting. So in this case, so if I do make a mistake, at least I know I must either fix a transaction that is above this line because it is having to do with the first 7 days of my business week, okay? So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and save this right now. Okay, because that means I don't need my journal anymore. Okay, I'm just saving this spot just so that I know if I do have a mistake, I'll have to fix it and find it throughout those first 2 pages. Okay, the one that we're going to be using is going to be, once again, your general ledger, because this is going to have a list of all of your accounts and every single account balance. So in this case, right, like I've mentioned before, we're going to take a look at our trial balance. Now notice this, my trial balance has my the column for all the account names, okay? It also has a column for all of the debits and credits, okay? So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to go through every single account in order just so that we can just go through each page here and just copy down whatever account that exists that has a current balance. So, starting from the very first one, we have our bank. In this case, this is a main account, which includes checking, petty cash, and cash in register, right? But in this case, right, I don't want you to practice main accounts just yet. I want you just to practice just any account that you see, whether it's a main, sub, contra, any account that you see on here. Let's practice that first just so that you know what you're doing, okay? And then when we reach the very last week, I'll go ahead and have you guys practice converting them into main accounts. Just only have main accounts, okay? So again, bank account has 0 balance in it. So in this case, I'm not going to record it because what difference would this account make? If it's showing me a 0 balance, does that affect my trial balance whatsoever? If a 0 on my debit side, is that going to increase my debit? Is a 0 on my credit side, is that going to increase my credit? No. Having accounts that have 0 balances does nothing for your trial balance. Only accounts that actually do have existing account balances are what you're going to record. Okay, so that means the first account that I actually really do have a balance is going to be my checking account. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write it in here, checking account. Okay, and in this case, I currently have a debit balance, right? Because I have positive cash flow in my bank account, right? I have $10,189.42 worth of cash in my checking account. So what I'm going to do here is on my trial balance, I'm going to record that I have $10,189.42. So this is once again where you can get typos here because we're transferring from one worksheet to another. Now, if you want to use cell referencing, yes, you can cell reference from one workbook to another. But you have to be very, very careful when doing that because you need to make sure that you keep the workbooks together in the same folder. But also, you also need to make sure that when you update your one of these books, that you have to also update the other workbook too. Sometimes Excel can pick it up. Sometimes it doesn't. You may have to reinitiate a formula all over again. So it's very important. If you choose to cell reference, yes, you can do it. It does take a lot of RAM to be able to do so because you're accessing multiple files at one single time. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and just type it all in. So 10,189.42 is currently on my debit side in my checking account. Okay. So let's see what the next account is. We have a petty cash, no account balance, so nothing there. We have cash in register, nothing there. Okay. We have accounts receivable. We haven't had any customers, so of course we don't have any accounts receivable, nor do we have an allowance or doubtful accounts. Business supplies. We haven't purchased any medium coffee cups, large coffee cups, sugar, or creamer. So we could skip over that. Office supplies. Well, we haven't bought anything yet. Okay. What about inventory? Of course, we haven't even talked about inventory yet either, which we will in week 2. So in this case, this part will be eventually filled in. All right, we got regular coffee, supreme coffee, and we have ceramic coffee mugs. Okay. Let's see what's next. Next is furniture. Oh, looks like we do have an account balance. What is my account balance in my furniture as of June 7th? It's 0 right now. So in this case, is it necessary that I post this or no? No, because, right, what is 0 going to do in my trial balance? It does nothing. But, so now we know, okay, well, furniture, we had something there, but we end up canceling out or zeroing it out. So therefore, we don't need to put it in our trial balance, okay? Did we purchase tables and chairs? Well, we haven't received it yet. So in this case, do we actually have our asset right here? No, right? We haven't journalized it yet, so we haven't posted to our ledger yet. Okay. Yes, but here is the first thing that we have here was a counter. Yes, so in this case, counter. right, was a debit for $11.93 cents. Okay. We also bought a desk set, right? We just recorded this, right? For $600. On the debit side, $658.37. Okay. And we have some display shelves. For $577.08. So then, do we have office equipment? In the main account, we don't have anything there, but when we break it down, yes, we do, right? We bought a computer. For a total of $1,834.84. Okay. We also bought a printer for $387.87. $378.87. We even bought a cash register for $649.49. Okay. Did we buy actual equipment? In this case, when we acquired the business, our first thing that we had here was a coffee brewer. Okay. We got a used coffee brewer for $1,900. Okay. We were in the process of purchasing another coffee brewer and a coffee grinder, right? We haven't received it yet, so in this case, we don't have the coffee grinder yet. Okay? So here we have vehicles. Okay? Vehicles. Did we make any purchase of vehicles? Not that we are aware of. No truck, no nothing that we purchased. Okay? So the next account is going to be prepaid accounts. In this case, yes, we do have an account balance for prepaid accounts. For $7,826.04. Okay. Then we have deposits, right? Deposits, which include our rent, electricity, and gas. Okay. For $1,700. Okay. Then we purchased goodwill for a grand total of $2,100. And in this case, do we have anything in our miscellaneous expense account? No, nothing there. Okay. So that was all of our assets balances that we have so far. Okay? So that means we can go ahead and move on to the next tab here. Did we incur any liabilities? In this case, yes, we did, right? We opened up our accounts payable account, right? And that means we need to be on the credit side this time because I have a credit balance. Now let's take a look at as of June 7th. My current credit balance under my accounts payable account is $3,428.67. Right? That's how much I owe so far. Okay. Right? We haven't charged our credit card yet. We haven't received it yet. And then here we have a notes payable, right? Because we bought the cash register, right? We financed it for $649.49. Okay. And I will go ahead and let you know that we haven't incurred anything yet. We don't have employees, so no payroll liabilities, and so on and so forth, right? We haven't got any loans or anything like that. So we are done with liabilities here. Okay. So then the next section here is going to be owner's equity, or just equity in general, right? In this case, right, I did start my company out with something, right? My original investment into the company was $30,000. I haven't added any extra money yet. I haven't even taken money out yet. And I haven't even finished the end of the accounting period where if I had a profit or a loss, I haven't even started that yet. So in this case, right, the only thing I have here is what my original investment was for, and it was for $30,000. Okay. So owner's equity, right, for a credit of $30,000. And of course, if I haven't even opened my business yet, I haven't sold anything yet, I don't have any revenues so far. And of course, because cost of goods sold is directly correlated to inventory and your revenues, right? We haven't even purchased inventory, so there's no reason for us to cost of goods sold. But we haven't even sold anything yet. So therefore, cost of goods sold is also going to be a section we are going to skip. However, we did incur some expenses, right? So let's go through the expenses list and see which ones we've done. Advertising expense, haven't done that yet. Bank fees, right? We haven't done our bank reconciliation yet. So in this case, no service charges or any fees like that. But we did incur a business expense, right? We had some consulting done. So in this case, business expense for debit $1,000, right? Because this is an expense that we incurred. Okay. Freight expense, we haven't purchased inventory yet. Next one we have here is insurance expense. Okay. Yes, we did buy insurance, and for the month of June, it's going to cost me $195.83. Okay. Did we incur any interest expense? Not yet. Okay. Labor expense, which branches out to subcontractor and my temporary worker. Not yet. Okay. Next thing I have is license and permit expense. Yes, that was one of the first things I had to do in order to establish my business, was I had to pay for licenses in order to sell a product, right? And that cost me $375, or that was my total. I also have loss on disposal of asset. Okay. Which in this case cost me I lost $2,000 out of that. Okay. Supplies expense. I haven't even incurred any office supplies, so therefore there shouldn't be any office supplies adjustments here because I don't have any to begin with, right? Purchase expense. Well, I haven't bought inventory yet, so this whole section is not going to be necessary. Then I have rent. So in this case, I have purchase discounts. Okay. Don't have any employees, so no payroll expenses. Okay. Last but not least, rent expense. Yes, for the month of June, it's gonna cost me $1,500. Did I do any travel expenses? No. Any utilities expenses? No. Any bad debt? No. Depreciation? No. Amortization? No. So let's go ahead and do my formula here to ensure that my debits match the total amount of credits by equal summing each column. So I have my totals here, equal sum. And I'm going to equal sum this whole entire column up here. And I get a grand total of $34,078.16 on the left side, $43,078.16 on the right. And usually what I do so I can actually see a clear view of that is I like to run the formula here that my debits minus my credits should equal 0. In this case, yes, they do equal 0. And therefore, we've completed and successfully completed the first week of trial balance with no mistakes, no discrepancies or anything else, okay? We're at $34,078.16 on both sides, so yes, okay? So any questions in regards to how we completed the trial balance, okay? This step will always come after completing the ledger account. And because we're going to be doing this every single Coffee Cafe week, right? The 7th is our first one. The next one's on the 14th. The 21st is after. The 28th is next. And then we do the end of the month trial balance, which is called the unadjusted trial balance. Okay? So we will be keeping track of it. That way we don't find any... We find discrepancies along the way so we can clear them out before it's too late. Okay? Any questions? Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and stop here so I can upload the answer.